Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Keyblade Master and welcome to my channel. Now, a few days ago, Alpha Omega Sin did a video about Iwata's death and about who could possibly replace him and his concerns. I'm going to be doing the same type of video here. He's a little bit better at sounding somber than I am, and it's really a somber moment right now in the game industry with Iwata's death. And one of the things I did a few days ago and why Iwata's death is going to impact us so much as gamers is I don't want Nintendo to make a normal controller like a lot of people are clamoring for. I want them to make a more practical one. If Nintendo stopped being Nintendo, it would not be good for the game industry. Everything from shoulder buttons to analog sticks to the rumble to wireless controllers the way we have them now was brought to the consoles first by Nintendo. And we need someone who can understand that they are more of a toy company than a gigantic electronics company like the other two are. That said, whoever replaces them is going to have a big impact. So, out of the three choices I kept on seeing in the comment section for his video, I thought I would go and tell people what I think of them. First, let's start off with the one guy that I think most Americans kind of want to see in charge of Nintendo as a whole, but doesn't have a snowball's chance of hell in getting the job, and that is Reggie Fils-Aimé. He's got the business sense. He heads Nintendo of America. At the same time, he also has sold and understands Nintendo's vision of the world and of gaming. He would be really great. He could help them tap into the American audience, and that's something Nintendo's kind of missing. To give Iwata some credit, even though the Wii U is having troubles and some of the visions for it were completely wrong, he did try to understand Americans. He did try to lead NOA. He made sure he visited. He made sure he tried to keep up instead of doing what a lot of the other Japanese companies are doing, which is closing their doors to us basically and like, we're going to make mobile games. If you Americans don't like it, well, screw you. He was actually trying to come here and learn how to sell to us. It's be interesting to have seen what would have happened if he was healthier when he tried to do this. But anyways, Reggie would be able to tap into that, and he knows both sides. He's been there for about a decade, so he understands both sides. So why doesn't he have a chance in heck of getting it? Well, he's an American and it's a Japanese company, and I'm not saying racism, but there's going to be cultural differences if they ever decided to pick someone outside of their country. There might be language barriers if they chose to go someone outside of the native country. And that does cause a problem. You know, he'd have to move to Kyoto. He would probably have to learn Japanese. He'd have to understand the Japanese culture and the way they look at it, as well as them trying to understand him. And it's not easy. Has it been done before? Yeah. But is it hard as heck? Yeah. And would I blame him if he passed up on the offer if they ever gave him that one? No, I would not blame him. But if he did take the position, I think it would be interesting. I think he could fix some of Nintendo's problems in marketing to us, mainly when it comes to YouTube. The second guy who I say his name keeps on popping up is, of course, Shigeru Miyamoto. And when I see that name as head of Nintendo, I keep on thinking of Herbert Hoover. Now, before you guys start flaming me for saying he would be like one of the worst presidents the United States had, and Herbert Hoover was one of the worst presidents we've ever had, you should go back and take a look at Hoover's record before he became president. There was a reason why both sides of the aisle thought he would make a great president. He served under many presidents, both Republican and Democrat, in the federal government, and whenever he was in charge of a product, he usually got done on time, got done above expectations. The guy was a worker. The guy was a genius. The only critic he had was Calvin Coolidge, who thought he was too hands-on and would like to meddle, and he nicknamed Hoover Wonder Boy, and that was meant to be very, very sarcastic. And Coolidge kind of turned out right, because when he was given the job as president, the first problem that hit this country, Hoover screwed up. Whether he did too little in the way of he should have probably had the Fed print money, or too much in the fact that he started passing tariffs and playing with a whole bunch of market financials that just dug us in deeper, he screwed up. So what's my point with Miyamoto? Well, Miyamoto so far has been in positions where he can be very hands-on. He's been either creating games or producing games, and usually he's around to give some sort of criticism, make some sort of decision. When you're CEO, you really can't do that on an individual basis. If you look at the credits to Nintendo games, usually who's ever in charge of the company doesn't appear until the very end as executive producer. It's going to be Yamaguchi if you're playing a classic Nintendo game. More current ones will say Satoru Iwata. That's because they didn't have much hands-on position in that game creation, nor should they. They are in charge of the company. They have other things to deal with. They have to deal with financials. They have to deal with other companies and other deals. They have to deal with international affairs. You really don't have time to go micromanage on the smaller basis, and Miyamoto would have to learn what to do in that situation. I don't know if he's executive material. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. And as head of the company, he certainly could move Nintendo forward in the way that they have been going. And hopefully, if someone's around to make him a little more practical in his ideas, Nintendo could see a really good new beginning with the NXE. We'll just have to wait and see. A lot of people think he's fit for the job. And you also have to remember one thing, Miyamoto is not a young person. I think he's in his 60s now, and he might be looking at retiring. And CEO is a stressful job. Not everyone can do it. It's one of the reasons why a lot of them make big bucks. And then finally, the last one I saw, the one that if Nintendo does put him in charge, and a lot of fans want it, and I don't understand if they know that if he gets in charge, what it could do to Nintendo, and that was Sakurai. Yes, I understand. Sakurai makes a lot of great games. His Kid Icarus reboot is one of the best games on the 3DS. Smash Brothers is good, and I do believe he had a hand behind Kirby. So why do I not want him for the job? Well, you perhaps should go look at some of his views on YouTubers and social media, and you'll understand why I'm like, oh, hell no. Next to Nintendo's Wii U controller being way too expensive and not practical, their second problem this generation has been how to deal with this new invention called social media and YouTube, especially YouTube. Dealing with Nintendo for YouTubers isn't always necessarily an easy thing, especially if you're looking to monetize your work. They've always been very protective and overzealous of their IP. Iwata was starting to turn the ship slowly. If that Nintendo's Creator Program was their final solution, then Nintendo's idiots. But if that's the kind of them testing the waters and seeing where to go next, then it's a step in the right direction. I think if Sakurai got ahead, not only would he stop doing that program, but he'd turn the boat 150 degrees the other way and go full speed to the point where if we even mention Nintendo in a YouTube video, we'd get claimed or striked. I mean, the guy seems to really dislike us, at least from what he said about why he didn't put cutscenes in the new Smash Brothers and other things. He does not understand Americans. He does not understand us YouTubers. So yeah, if Sakurai got ahead and charged of Nintendo, I might be wrong. He might step up, see our uses, and be good for us. But just from his comments, just from the fact that none of the games he's made is on Nintendo's whitelist, I don't think he has a high opinion of us YouTubers. And if Nintendo can't figure out what to do with us YouTubers, they have no future in the West. Anyways, rest in peace, Mr. Iwata. You have been a visionary in the game industry, and us gamers will miss you. If you have any comments on this video, feel free to leave them down below. This is Tommy the Keyblade Master signing out.